I'm Paul Levinson, and welcome to Light On, Light Through, episode 327. My review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, episode 1.9, up on Paramount Plus TV today. And I would say this excellent, powerful episode can only be described as momentous. Here's why. And warning, there are big spoilers ahead. Number one, Hemmer sacrifices himself. And though the way that came to be was evocative and soul wrenching, I'm sorry it happened. He was a great character, real personality, and somehow new in the Star Trek universe, which has given us Andorians before, but no one quite like Hemmer. I hope he somehow comes back. Number two, Laan is not permanently gone, but she'll be off the show for a while, or at least for an episode or two. Too bad about that, too, though her reason makes perfect sense. Three, what Uhura has been through is enough to make her stay on the Enterprise. Okay, that's something I'm unreservedly very happy about. 4. Spock nearly loses control, and Chapel explains to him that that's only human. More important than what she said, they hug. Now that's only human too, and it's good to see. Stepping back a bit, those Gorn are a nasty species. They're certainly causing ours a lot of big trouble on SNW. They did, though, elicit a good phrase from Pike, quote, "Watch your six," unquote. What does that mean? Well, the courteous explanation is, watch what's behind you. But I don't know, watch your ass is more to the point. By the way, one thing I didn't particularly like about this episode, Sam Kirk as Jackass. I don't like seeing any Kirk come across like that. I'm willing to see where SNW goes with that one. And I'll see you back here next week with my review of the next episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And I hope you enjoyed that review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. There will indeed be a new episode on next week, and I'll certainly be reviewing it. By the way, if you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, on Star Trek in general, on Isaac Asimov, on the Foundation series, well, those of you who've been loyal listeners may recall that I've interviewed more than once the one and only Joel McKinnon, who does the Seldom Crisis podcast. Anyway, he and I had I thought, a great conversation about all of those things: Star Trek, Asimov, Foundation, and I will include a link to that episode. I mean, you can search on Seldom Crisis. It's the latest episode. It's right up there. But if you want to check the show notes to this episode of Light On, Light Through, you'll find a link to the conversation I had with Joel McKinnon just a few days ago. And okay, at this point, the next thing I'll be doing, I'm not going to say definitely because who knows what might come up, but I now am really late with my review of last week's For All Mankind. There'll be a new episode of For All Mankind up in a couple of hours on Apple TV Plus. So I tell you what, I'll be reviewing both of them in a single episode of this podcast in the next day or two. There'll also be, I think it's the season, actually I know, it's the season finale of The Man Who Fell to Earth. I'm saying season finale because I hope there's another season, but I have no idea. I have no special connection to the producers. I have no special connection to anyone who makes any of these shows, these great shows. I'm just your humble podcaster. Anyway, there's also coming up, as I've been saying, Westworld is now back with a new season. And actually, I think this is an excellent season. I reviewed the first episode last week. It really had a tightness, a leanness, which I thought the third season didn't have. It was a little hard to understand what was going on in the third season. So I'll be back here soon with a review of the second episode of the new season of Westworld. And hey, to get back to Joel McKinnon, one of the other things that we discussed in his interview with me is the Orville, which both of us agree really is part of the Star Trek canon, even though it doesn't contain any of the Star Trek characters, but it's very much in the Star Trek tradition. So lots of science fiction out there. I'll be reviewing as much of it as I can watch and review. In the meantime, stay safe, stay sound, and I'm going to keep on saying this until the Russians once and for all are driven out of Ukraine. Do whatever you can to help those brave people of Ukraine defend their country against Vladimir Putin, today's Hitler, and his fascist hordes.
The Light on Light Through podcast.
Athens, 2042 AD. She ripped the paper in half, then ripped the halves, then ripped what was left again into bits and pieces of history that could have been. Sierra Waters had read once that, years ago, it was thought that men made love for the thrill, while women made love for the sense of connection it gave them.
Curled Up with a Good Book says, Sierra Waters is sexy as hell. You can find out more about The Plot to Save Socrates by Paul Levinson at theplot2savesocrates.com.
Paul Levinson spills code about an ancient biotech war raging on in secret for centuries.